welcome back to Here Be Dragons. I am your host, as always, Stephen. I guess this week I'm Stevo Inaros. Joining me this week, I'm usually the captain of the OPAS Legitimate Salvage, our crew. And joining me this week, I've got my first officer, Nessie, mission specialist, John Webster. Thanks for coming back, guys. This is our first stream back from we had a week off last week. How was your week last week? What were you guys busy? I know neither one of you could make it because that's why we canceled.
It was kind of uneventful. I unfortunately had to spend some time with some people who were, a little on the dull side. But what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? I was in pretty much the same box.
Last week was freaking awesome.
It really was. You know what? We'll have a long mid-roll and talk all about it. Yeah, good to have y'all back. Nessie, great to see you as always. John,
great to be here.
And it is just we three dragons this week for the finale of the Expanse. The finale. John, go ahead. Take it away. We just watched the finale of The Expanse. John?
Is it? Is it though?
Is it though? These are burning questions we all have.
My honest reaction is I watched the end of the series and lingering questions, as Nessie said, and also there's been comments that the creators have made about this being a pause,
right?
Rather than a true ending. So I'm I remember going into the finale being just knowing where episode 5 of the season had stopped and being I have no freaking clue how they could possibly wrap this up in one more episode. And spoiler alert, they didn't really. They wrapped up the plot that has driven the past couple seasons.
And A plot.
Yeah, I mean
a plot. Let's just put it that way. Not maybe the A plot, but a plot.
Yeah, a plot. And so I remember thinking, well, I can see how they can wrap up the war with Marco, but not the proto molecule, and so that's what they did. So
right.
So having said that, with that in mind, it was a great season. I have a couple nitpicks with the finale itself, but overall, I think they did a really good job of drawing this chapter of the Expanse to a close.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's the finale so far.
Right.
There is definitely a plot thread they could pick up and run with in the future. I know that as of this moment, there is no plan to there is no solid plan to do that. I know they want to do it, but it is a question of finding a platform and all that stuff.
And can I just say, based on, I haven't read the book, but based on what I've heard, the remainder of the story is, there's a big time jump and it's going to involve new characters. Although my assumption is that we still get, our characters, but they'll be in a different place in their lives, presumably. And so if the idea is to pick this story up after a certain amount of time, real world, can we just take a moment to appreciate the scope of vision that will require and just requires by virtue of the fact that they're even contemplating it. And I really do think that we find ourselves in this situation because of the way the sort of landscape of television has changed with the way things are done, not just with streaming, but with, and as much as I always harp on this, but the habit for revivals and for revisiting stories,
reboots and whatnot.
yeah, which opens the door to say, you know, if you can get all the involved parties to agree, is let's stop here for now and let's pick up the story later on. You know, maybe when advances in visual effects have gone further, they can do a bigger scale production. Maybe it's movies in the future. Who knows? They may not have a clear picture as of yet. And maybe they do. Maybe they're just keeping it very, you know, close
to the vest.
Yeah. But so if that's what is going on, which is I greatly suspect, then that is very ambitious, I think. And in that scenario, I'm okay with stopping here for now.
Okay. But in any other scenario, you're not okay.
I'm glad the books exist because I'm gonna need to know what the rest of the story is.
What's going on with Laconia?
Yeah, that's the big question mark.
And just I want to know like what happens with these characters later on. Granted, I know it's not a 1-to-1 show to book, but I do want more of these characters. So
yeah,
I'm going to agree with you on part of that. Like, I definitely want the Laconia stuff. I'm intending to start the books very soon. Life's been a little hectic for me, but soon I will be starting to read all the books.
And we know the story has an ending.
Right.
It's all in print.
But I really do want the Laconia storyline. You know, I would love to know what's going down there. But I will say that, okay, understand, I love the characters in this show, but the end that we got with them was satisfactory for me. You know, they took out the big bad guy, they survived, they helped change the face of the solar system, they helped start the transport union and all of that stuff. That is a satisfying end to me. Like, I was super happy to just see the Rocinante disappear into the stars at the final shot, and I'm like, that is a satisfying end for me, at least.
I think I'd be a bit more at peace with leaving these characters if, and this is where my nitpicking about the finale will come out. And I want to be clear, I still really, really enjoyed the finale.
Nitpick away, my man.
And this is just how the story was written. So like, I'm not telling the writers do this, do that. It is what it is. But I respond more to like story ends that maybe get your action stuff out of the way, maybe in episode earlier, and give me time at the end to really sit with the characters and let them breathe. The structure was different. We got a lot of that building up to the finale, but we had a lot of really action heavy stuff in the finale. And then there's basically sort of a coda that's about 10-15 minutes. I wanted more of that. And so I was having this talk with Peadar, and I was like, maybe if there had been yeah, exactly. If there had been an extra episode, maybe like have the, all this stuff, fighting with Marco, the assault on, on the rail guns and all that stuff, have that be the penultimate episode, and then let the final episode be all the stuff of figuring out what to do in the future, and Holden and Drummer and all that stuff. Let that breathe out for a final episode, and I think then I'd be like, I'm at peace. I'm ready to say goodbye to these characters.
I think that's legit, but given, I think that's legit. Like, I would always more with this show.
Right.
They always give me more than I expect and leave me wanting more than I got, which, that is not a bad way to run your show, I think.
And we knew going into this that 6 episodes, I mean, downing us from 10 episodes, a 6-episode season, it was going to have to be incredibly tight on the storytelling and the action sequences and everything. So by it being as compressed as it was, yeah, I mean, we are left wanting a little bit more of the good feels. Yay, we've done it, we did it. Let's breathe and see where our characters are landing, to give the nice little tie up at the end. That would have been a little better, but I'm satisfied. Yeah.
To be clear, I'm actually really impressed with how much time they managed to give to everything over the course of the season, given that it was only 6 episodes. My complaint, especially with the in between episode bonus scenes that we got, I think that really helped flesh out the character. That fleshed out the character arcs of the season. And so I wouldn't say that this is a criticism of the entire season, because I think that they did a really great job, given the short episode run, of making it so that, I said it on the last stream, I felt that this was a very fast-paced season, but that's not the same thing as being rushed.
Right.
I think most of the season felt very organic.
Yes, I totally agree. And you're right. That is an important distinction to make between being fast-paced and being rushed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm not going to mention any other TV shows. I do like.
Well, it's funny because that other TV show has a finale that's in sort of pace and structure is more to my taste, but we'll leave it at that.
Right. I got I like Potter's comment here. They manageed to work in Prax and Elvie and Anna too.
I wanted more of them.
I did too, but we got something, which is better than nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
And I will say, if you write a comment and I put it up on screen and read it, I will read any
It's all right. I don't have to say it. Everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Right.
So.
Yeah. See, Kelly gets it. If you misspell something, I will read it wrong, just so you know.
Yes.
Hey, thanks, Guilty Undertaker. We appreciate all likes are appreciated. But I also get it if you are just dropping in to drop a like and getting out, because we are full spoilers here. Full spoilers. So that being said, Philip, ?
Yeah, that was.
Was that satisfying into his story, at least?
Can I just say that was so I don't even know the word I'm looking for. Satisfying. That moment at the end was so incredibly satisfying. And I want to say, I have occasionally said some, some derogatory things as far as character, in Philip's direction, oh man, Sam, that's not true. This is the type of character who could very easily have worn thin, and been the sort of petulant, young child of these two characters who makes wrong decisions, and you're just like, oh, for God's sake. But he was so well written and so well acted, so that every time he did something that I, as the audience member, got annoyed at, you understood what was going on psychologically. You knew that he was...
And you watched it change him, too, even throughout the course of this season.
With just one word in his final scene, it just wrapped everything up for me, and that was when he put his name in.
Mm.
It was not Inaros.
And it was Philip Nagata. Yeah. I got chills. I got chills.
And I have to say, watching these last 3 episodes again today really drove home like what he was going through in these episodes. Like I remember the first time going through, and when he's like, whose side are you on? Drummer is our enemy, and he makes that speech. I remember the first time I watched him, I'm like, oh God, he's headed the wrong direction again. But with the benefit of seeing how his arc played out, you now see that that's a moment of like he knows, like he's on the right path. This is him trying to push himself away from what he's feeling and to reassert himself as the loyal son to Marco and Beltalowda but really it's all building up and it's boiling over, and so he resists it until he can't. And that's what's so beautiful over these final episodes to watch with his character.
I just got to put this up on the screen for a second. It's funny. Potter, you're funny. Keep coming.
I mean, it's true.
It is true.
His arc with the maintenance crew, when he's down to work with the maintenance crew, that really, I think, just brings, I don't know, a lot of growth to his character. He's, I don't know, he's talking with the rank and file, and he's seeing how things are affecting them, especially the whole complication about the maintenance worker and his brother, and that little back and forth dilemma until he gets thrown in jail. He's just so concerned about his brother and he hasn't heard anything, and then to find out that he just loses it when he finds out that his brother is dead. He was the one that set the charges. This is brother killing brother.
Killed his own brother.
Brother killing brother for this man.
The beautiful like symmetry of what Philip is doing in that scene. He's holding him, he's comforting him, which is a direct parallel to the scene with him and Naomi, where she's holding him as he, when he said, "Why did you leave me?" And it's, oh my God, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And just really quick, because I'm not going to give in to the pressure, guys. Yes, I was talking about Game of Thrones, the series finale, the Iron Throne. Let it never be said that I will not say.
Right. John will say it. I didn't say it because I didn't want this to happen. This which is happening right now.
But let's go on. Let's talk about the Expanse.
Like I said, let's talk about the Expanse. Related to like the Philip Naomi thing. Can I just say, last season Dominique Tipper made a true believer out of me. But just that scene where she is right after the sort of like terrible thing goes down for the pellet gets eaten.
Is that terrible or
you know what I mean?
Amazing.
It's awesome, but like right after that, the scream.
Yeah.
Which
was not scripted.
No, and the out of her mind, like just rage and grief that she's feeling, and holding on to her, and her like trying to get away because she doesn't want it in the moment, but he knows, no, I need to be here right now. Guys, it was,
I know,
like
we were together.
I would cast Dominique Tipper in anything. I would cast her to play any part you can think of.
I think the three of us were pretty much crying at this point.
Yeah. Because we did get to watch this together.
Yeah, like we're bearing the lead there. And although actually I will say that there were like like there were some trade-offs because I would not give anything for sitting there with you guys and experiencing this together. However, it's not the same as when I get to have like my headphones on and pick up every detail of the sound.
Sure.
So a lot of the dialogue, and especially in the battle scenes, got a little lost for me.
Yeah, me too.
So that's when I was watching it again today. I got the benefit of all that, but still, like, I'm always gonna think of like the reactions of, you know, everybody in the group as we were sitting there watching together, especially that moment towards the end where everybody looks at Holden and just the sort of I call it a mixture of like laughter and groaning.
Yeah, when everybody sitting there watching, just kind of like, because we were all together last week for Here Be Con, and we watched this together, this finale, you know, right as it aired. There were about, I don't know, 8 or 9 of us watching, and that moment was so funny because we all did go like, I think my response was,
like it made so much sense.
It does,
and it's like, poor guy, that's the last thing that he wants. And then it turns out that he walks away from it. And I love what they said behind the scenes, that the show starts off with him like stepping or refusing responsibility because of his immaturity, and then the ending is him walking away from, you know, like, you know, a responsibility or he's taking responsibility rather, but he's walking away from the chance to, you know, basically have the kingdom thrown at him because he's now acting with maturity.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful. And which, by the way, that's what makes that last X-ray the perfect prologue to the finale.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
The Remember the Can't little episode, X-ray. If you don't know what we're talking about when we say X-ray, there are, when you're watching the show on Amazon Prime, if you pause it, a little like tabs come up across the top. One of them is X-ray, and there are extra scenes in there, and they are extremely good, well worth watching. And you should go back and watch them all if you haven't seen them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, they're part of the season. They're not like deleted scenes that are like fun to watch. They're like part of the tapestry of the season for me, and everybody should definitely watch them.
Yeah, I agree. I groaned when everybody turned to Holden, even though I'm like, of course he's the perfect choice, but I'm still like, you know, I don't want the straight white man to be the one again. But what a beautiful parallel they made about a straight white man like me, John, or you, to be an ally, to use our privileged position to lift up someone else who's really honestly better for it, because who is better to run that than Kamina Drummer, who's already running the OPA Navy, knows all about space travel, and like.
Which,
really,
by the way, I want to spin off
that ship, the Medina station, the one that they're going to have.
Yep.
I want to spin off show that is just Drummer running the show.
Okay, Nessie, what are you saying? She ran Medina Station?
I was saying, of course it's Drummer. That is her ship. She built it as the Naboo. She stole it and refit it into the Behemoth. It's now, she ran Medina Station until she and Asher, they got run off. That's been her ship. That's hers from the ground up, from conception. That's been hers. So her having control of that is absolutely justice. You know, she put blood, sweat, tears, and everything into that.
Holden is only the good choice because he's the compromise everyone can agree on. So he was great to be the first one, but I also love that
that makes him the Oscar winner for Best Picture. Then
the
compromise everybody can agree. Sorry.
Right. Okay. Thanks. Um,
Yeah,
but
and that's just politics.
right, he was the politically expedient choice. Like they couldn't, like the transport union never would have come about without a Holden to be that first president or whatever the position is. But Drummer is obviously the perfect choice to run it long term. I just Holden's like, and here's the thing: Holden doesn't lie. He doesn't conceal. He tells you what he thinks. He tells you what he's going to do, and he does it. Except this one time, where he conspires behind Avasarala's back to put Drummer in power. And
Oh
I
my god,
love
that
it.
that smile, like after they agree that she's not going to try and dismantle this, like that smile for like the reporters and the cameras, it like says like you're lucky I don't just kill you on the spot
Right.
Joe, that sounds awesome to me.
Right. 23rd century West Wing. I'd watch. I'd watch
it. Specialized soil facilities.
Yeah. But oh my god, yeah, and her, delivery of don't you fucking do it.
Absolutely right, Potter. He not only tells you, he tells the entire universe.
Right. He broadcasts it
out there. There's no take backs, no give backs.
I agree, Deanna. Yeah, I guess.
DeWall.
Okay. Yeah, Deanna DeWall. Thank you. I totally agree, because Holden steps down, Drummer steps up to the podium, and she gives him this look and with a nod. That is the first time she's ever truly shown Holden that full respect. Like, no, I get it now. Now I understand why Naomi's in love with you. Because she didn't up to that point,
Oh God, but that scene between Naomi and Drummer. Oh God, that's where the tears came for me. Like, just we have to stand by those we love, and then Drummer's reply of F you, and she's crying, and it's like, oh my God, like, yeah, I'm not as again, like, I'm not. I don't give Holden as grief as as much grief as a lot of viewers do, but I'm like, dude, just get out of the way. I want Naomi and Drummer to go off into the sunset together.
Well, I got you. I understand what you're saying, but you got to give the white guy something still, right?
Oh yeah, because we
because we've been so disadvantaged.
Yeah, we need something. Come on.
I'm going to turn. All right, so I'm a little scatterbrained, y'all. I'm still not back to normal from the convention. I've had people in my house all week. Most of y'all know, but one of the guests that came to our get together flew all the way from the Netherlands, and then because it's the world we live in, they got COVID and can't go home yet. Hopefully tomorrow. She's a lovely house guest. Don't get me wrong. All hail the Night's Queen, aka Julie, is in my living room right now.
By the way, you can't act like I'm not going to mention it, folks. Somebody got made fun of for the amount of orange juice that he drank during the trip, and that somebody walked away without getting COVID. Just saying.
Right. John is 100% vindicated.
You know what, John? No, I was going to say maybe it was the baked goods, but
maybe so.
No, but she had plenty of baked goods and got COVID. So,
but yeah, no, I'm never letting that go.
I don't know of anything you've ever let go ever.
Like,
so I believe you when you say it.
Ever increasing list.
Right. Hills John will die on. It's an entire mountain.
It's a range of mountains.
But yeah, I'm feeling very nostalgic about the show as a whole right now. Like I've kind of been wistfully looking back over the course of the whole story. And
Well,
who would have thought when the Canterbury gets blown up, who would have thought that this is where we would end up?
Well, and that's why I got chills when I watched, the X-ray that, remember the Cant, because it brought it back to, in the beginning, especially since we get to see characters in that, in that sequence, in the flashback portion of it, that stretch back to the very beginning of the show. And
that guy that was in literally one episode 1, and then the last X-ray scene.
Yeah, and we got the captain of the Cant as well, and
talking about.
Oh, I thought you were talking. Because we also got the Belter, who was in the first episode and the premiere of this season.
He was
in that
like the captain of the Cant. Was in that X-ray scene and episode 1 of the whole show, and that's it.
Yeah, and so it was just great. And we got clean shaven Holden.
Right.
Which it feels like there's a joke to be made about me and my beard or lack of beard.
Yeah, basically, the more beard you grow, the more grizzled and experienced in space combat you look, John.
John, get your space beard.
But no, it was just great because for me it like brought everything back to the beginning. It would have been fun maybe to see Miller walking around in the background or something.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. And I feel like they could have gotten away with it given that it was one of the X-ray scenes and not like part of the main episode.
It was on Series Station.
Yeah. So like that thought didn't occur to me earlier, but I just, it did just occur to me. And like, I'm not going to give the show grief for not doing that. Yes, I'm the world's, one of the world's biggest Miller fans. I love the guy, but that's okay. Because that scene was so brilliant, the way it brought everything back to the beginning and really made you feel like Holden's journey in that final episode, and like, how far he's come. And I loved it. And the more I'm talking about it now, just with the character arcs and everything, that even with some of my sort of small grievances about sort of, the action beats of the finale and stuff like that, like they still did such an amazingly phenomenal job, closing off this, this chapter of the story, as I'll say.
Look, I'm just going to talk about it like it's over. Until they say they're going to give me more, I'm going to talk about it like it's over.
I'm not there. I can't do it, but I'm glad you can, Stephen. But let's not forget, like, we're talking a lot about the finale, but let's not forget to go back and talk about episodes 4 and 5 as well.
Okay, go ahead.
There were more than one episode?
Well, I mean, that's a solid point, but I do want to say, what a visually stunning action sequence they did give us in that finale, though. Like this dropping 500 outhouses through the ring gate at one time, and watching Amos fall through the sky and the rail gun going off over and over and over again. I'm just like, wow.
And seeing that.
I can't
see, but this is when people are not gonna be happy with me, because I gotta say it was my least favorite part of the episode.
Yeah, I'm not unhappy about that. You're allowed to, whatever,
because I said this, I think when we were talking about it, a few days ago, the sequence felt very much plucked from a video game to me, and I wasn't completely like there was something that I felt the sort of distance from, as opposed to say the big action sequence last season on Earth with, you know, Amos and like the gunfight, you know, which I thought was so brilliantly executed and staged, and still like I really felt emotionally connected. Whereas this was so, and there's no way to avoid it. It's, you know, at the ring gates and all that stuff, but it was very effects heavy, and there were some times when I could like, I was like, the characters are standing in front of a green screen, and like I didn't dislike it, but it wasn't for me the most successful part of the finale. I very much more responded to the character scenes.
I mean, I get that, and I did too, but I don't want to pass on the moment without saying that when they went for the action sequence, they did not hold back.
No.
They gave us something really compelling. Watching Bobby be the badass that we know she is in that final sequence, where she basically takes out a railgun herself. Like, I loved it. Do I resonate? Is it the character moments that are going to resonate with me more? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I didn't really enjoy that part also. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they balanced the character moments along very well with the action sequences. I don't think that they, you know, relied too heavily on them to get their story arcs across. But, you know, they did give us quite a few meaningful moments with each character in this last few episodes. With, like, when Amos is confronting Holden about, you know, he found out that the missile wasn't a dud,
Right.
you know, and he's confronting Holden, and they're having that argument, that conversation, like, you know, why am I even following you at this point? You know, if you're just going to make decisions like this one more time. He pushed a button, made a decision for the entire group, you know, and he's got to come to, you know, he's got to face Naomi with that. You know,
that was another one of great scene. The one between Holden and Naomi, where she's like, "You can't make that choice for me," and he comes back with more or less, "I didn't make it for you. I made it because I can't be the guy that does it."
I can't be.
Which is so honest and so human.
Yeah,
like,
it really is.
Yeah, I can't be the one who kills your son.
And yet it's him making that decision and leaving that, you know, Philip finding that missile and knowing that it had been deactivated. That changed his whole mindset about
right.
That was the moment that changed it for him. And Holden, he did the right thing. He didn't know he was doing the right thing. He knew in the moment for him he was doing the right thing. But in the end, it made for a superior outcome.
Because there's really nothing else for Philip to think about that other than to assume that his mother deactivated it. And
right.
And it, like, yeah, and that has, you're right, Nessie, that has so much of an impact on him, and that's what starts the domino effect of what leads him to leave the ship and go off on his own. And so, yeah. And it's funny because my read on that moment of Holden deactivating the bomb, like, as far as like what the consequences of that were going to be, I was totally wrong, because I thought that was going to come back to bite him in the ass, as far as like the wrong person was going to find out that he did that and he'd face repercussions for that. And that's not at all what they were going for, which like, yeah, people find out about it, but like they're like, his crew is, you know, pissed off at him, and Bobby ends up being like, oh, of course. And
Amos looks at him in a way I haven't seen him look at Holden since season 1. Like, what the hell are you doing? He was so mad.
But the consequences of it are that it ends up saving Philip.
Yeah.
And that's so beautiful.
I think Joe S. has a really great question. So would you prefer Expanse movies similar to the Star Trek movies with the original cast, from back in the day? Or would you like an anthology in the same universe with a new cast? And my answer is I want the first one more, but I'll take anything you give me. I love this world they've built. I love that they're one of the things that always attracted me about the Expanse was that they have a capital S in their science fiction. Like they know their science. It's not perfect. Um, when the Naboo has some issues with it, but their physics, their science is very, very good. And I also love that they don't reverse the polarity of the electron stream to solve a problem.
Right.
Like if they don't have technobabble as sort of a way to overcome the thing. Star Trek did that, and that's fine. Star Trek is doing a different thing. Like, and that's all fine and good, but I really like that the Expanse didn't do that. They wanted to. They're really worried about finding the actual solution rather than the deep exploration of like an individual case study like Star Trek would be. But I guess I'm meandering off the point a little bit. But yes, Joe, I really want to see the rest of the book series. But if you can give me an anthology about, just workaday people in the universe of the Expanse, I'd watch that too.
I'd
watch that.
I want the first one. I'm really excited about the prospect of, letting the series like lie dormant for a number of years and then bringing back the cast when they're older and like continuing on with the rest of, adapting the rest of the book series. I think that would be so awesome. And it's sort of almost comforting to say like, they told a really great story here, but I get the rest of it like at a different point in my life. That kind of thing kind of almost sends chills down my spine in a way.
Shine on, you crazy diamond.
Yeah. I mean, what if we were to get both? Disney's done it. I know John hates this, but Disney's done it, having the large screen, the big screen productions, and then the small screen, more intimate, character-driven shows. I mean, they could have an anthology and have their cake and eat it too.
Are you talking about MCU?
No, I'm talking about the Expanse could do. Amazon could do the same thing with the Expanse in having the big screen productions and then also having small anthology type shows being shown on Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
there's so much content. There's so much in the next 3 books, as Deanna says, that it may be too much for the movies to handle. So having it overflow onto the small screen to pick up with like smaller character arcs would be very interesting to me.
I mean, it doesn't have to be movies. Like, come back as a new run of of the show, but like the notion still stands the same. I mean, and like it's hard for me to like say how long they should wait, given that I haven't actually read those books, so I don't know like of how much import the amount of time that passes is like required to tell the story. And so I'll leave that to others, but I want them to come back with the story in some capacity. And if that's a couple more seasons of a series, then
I want Stephen Strait and Dominique Tipper and Frankie Adams back for that. Kara G. I figure Amos will probably be dead by then, so sorry, Wes, you'll have to get a new job. Amos going to get himself killed.
He can be older with a dad bod.
Yeah, no, I never even considered.
I want dad bod Amos.
Like I think Amos has more of a shot of like making it in the long run than any of them. He
He's
seems
a
to be.
survivor.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it's Holden's going to push the wrong button and blow himself up.
I
But if
mean,
it's a
I see.
30-year,
I wonder what this does.
right. If there is a 30-year jump, you know, our characters are in their 30s, maybe early 40s. Amos, Holden, in their early 40s. That puts them into their early 70s or mid 60s.
If Outlander can get away with those characters aging 20 years while basically looking the same except for some gray hairs, then I think they can get away with it on the Expanse if they just like if they were to wait, say, a few years and then come back. I think they can get away with
I
it.
don't know. I mean, I haven't watched it, so don't take this as shade, but I doubt that Outlander is the benchmark for like high quality makeup in television.
You haven't watched the show, so
no, I haven't.
Going to because there's some exceptional makeup work on that show, but it's just as far as like they didn't want like you got a good looking young cast. You're not going to bury them under like really excessive old age makeup.
I got you. But I want that for the Expanse. I want to see the wrinkles. And that's one of the things about the show is that they've always showed us the wrinkles. At least like philosophically, of course the actors are going to be all made up to look as good as possible. But like the Expanse has never shied away from the difficult question, the uncomfortable conversation. Speaking of uncomfortable conversation, I want you to look at these names and tell me how many absolute legends had to die for this finale to happen.
The only way that I'm actually not like annoyed by this is because we don't see anything in close up. Like if it were more obvious, I'd probably be like, oh god. But because it's so quick and so small, I'm instead very tickled by it. I think it's great. Just like all those Easter eggs are fun.
So,
but yeah, like I'm sorry, but there's some names in there that there's no way they go down. Like that's my suspension of disbelief is at an all-time high here.
Right. What I don't understand is, I'm going to put it back up. Why is Kara Thrace on there? She is not a ground assault trooper. I'm just saying. I can see her flying escort, but don't put her on the ground assault team. That's not.
No, she's good on the ground too, Steve.
Yeah, but that's not her specialty.
Doesn't matter. She's going to want to be in the thick of it.
Oh. You were putting that up at the same time I was.
Yeah.
Deanna says that the 30-year time jump really doesn't have anything to do with it. Anti-aging drugs work miracles in the future. You know what? I believe it. I believe that.
I mean, look at my girl Avasarala. She is freaking gorgeous.
Yeah.
So
then yeah,
they got good skincare.
So in that case, like, bring it on. And I'm like thinking about it like that. I'm now more certain than ever that this is gonna end up happening. We just may have to wait a few years, but no, I'm standing firm. I don't consider this the end of the Expanse.
I mean, I do until they tell me there's more coming. But, that's just the different ways we view the world.
Yep, that's the half empty, half full.
Have you heard about the next?
I prefer, the old proverb who said that a lot can happen between now and never.
Right. I'm not saying never, but I'm saying I'm satisfied with where they left us. Satisfied, not overjoyed. I would love the rest of the story. I want the Laconia stuff. I would like to see more from the characters we've come to love over these past several years. but like I'm at least satisfied.
Well,
Have you heard about the next project that the producers are doing? From the producers,
Jesus. I
Charade
thought you were being
Review,
serious.
Read
God.
the phone
Sign
book.
me up.
And I'm going to watch and review every episode.
Yes, we
Let's talk about Laconia for a second, because actually this is one of the biggest reasons why I'm like, this isn't the end. It's all a big setup, Stephen.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
If this was the end, I'm sorry, but like that's the first stuff to go, because it doesn't have it very tangentially like gives you like lets you know who the guy is that messages Marco at the end, but that's the only connective tissue. Otherwise you cut that stuff out. And
for six episodes, every minute of every second of every episode counts in weight. They devoted a third of the entire runtime of the series to tell this story, this little side piece called Strange Dogs, if anybody wants to read the novella, and integrate it into the series. It has significance.
I mean,
There's
it was
no
a
way around
compelling
that.
story. I loved it, but like you're trying to convince me that they're going to come back and they're going to have great. I would love that, but you don't have to convince me, because I won't be convinced by anything short of them saying more Expanse is coming.
Yeah.
Okay, but if there's nothing more, do you think that I think ended up contributing to the story of this season?
Yes, I do.
Why? And in what way?
Well, just because it's good science fiction. It's good and interesting science fiction.
When it's 6 episodes, and
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but like, I don't know why you feel the need to convince me. That's where I'm at.
I'm just happy that.
Because damn it, Stephen, I need you to be like, there's more of this show coming.
I hope there's more of this show coming. Because I would really enjoy that.
And because I can't let stuff go, Stephen. I thought we established this.
I will be mad if there isn't anything else coming, because they tricked me.
Here's the thing. I think they're hopeful that they will get more, and that they have done the Laconia stuff in the hopes that if they do get to do more, that backstory is already in place.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's my
if we compare this ending that we have with the previous ending of the show, when the show was canceled, with no hope of anything going forward, this is all we're going to get forever. Okay. It's kind of, I mean, yes, they went into that season not knowing that it was going to, it was kind of, they knew that this was going to be the ending.
But they didn't introduce a whole new sub-story, that would only make sense in the context of another season.
I think they want that, but they don't have it yet. I mean, I've watched several interviews with Ty Frank and Daniel Abraham and Narain Shankar, and I had the good fortune to be on Cecilia's podcast 2 days ago with a guy called Chris Danilon, who he worked in the art department on The Expanse for all 6 seasons. And it was really just everybody, what he said, what I heard everybody from the show say, they weren't even cagey about it. They're like, we don't have anything right now. We do not have plans to do it right now.
And that would be the first time showrunners have ever concealed.
Okay, but they're not actors. Look, you can usually pick up something. I'm just saying. I don't think that they have anything in the works right now, but I think that they want to in the future. And when it happens, they're going to be really happy they did the Laconia stuff already. And all right. We should make a bet on it. What's our time frame here, John?
I say I'm going to stick with 5 years. I say
5 years. Okay.
They pick up
So-
in 5 years.
So we're taking the over under on 5 years. What's the bet?
More
All right,
to
John.
John's eyes.
John, if you win, I will kiss you. But if I win, you have to kiss me.
I mean, like, I want to do that anyway.
I know. Can you believe
did
we
we
were together for
not
a whole week and we didn't make out once?
Did we not actually like kiss? Like,
No, we didn't. We never did
I'm
it.
shocked
Oh
by that.
no! Oh no! He's not going to
No.
bet that.
I don't care that much.
Right? He's like, I don't even. We did. Yeah, we were
Hey,
together for a whole
that's
week and we
my
didn't make
rule.
out a single time. I did spend a lot of time. Like one of the great. You know what? Let's move to the mid roll here in a minute, and I'll tell this story about.
Oh my God, we're at the mid-roll.
It's
We're-
the mid-roll.
Yeah, more or
What
less.
are we going to
Hey,
talk
we've
about for
mostly
another
covered the
hour?
finale. We can dig into other stuff here in a minute. But yeah, we're betting on it. Okay, we're betting on it. And if I win, John, you have to do the dishes at my house next time you come visit. And if you win, I have to do the dishes at your house.
Okay.
That's
You
a
know
solid
what?
bet.
I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to say under 5 years.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You're taking the over under. I'm taking the over.
Okay.
Sounds good. And Ridiculous Ed Tollett says, like the stream. Indeed, like the stream.
Yeah.
So,
Only the highest stakes. Yeah, my mama always told me, don't bet anything you're not willing to lose. So
Well,
right.
these are the guys that they wrote an entire, like, how many books were there?
9?
Nine
a bunch.
nine books
And
since
novellas.
since 2011.
And did
These
a
are
show.
guys who get shit done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel kind of safe in making.
I mean,
this
I'm
call.
with you, but it's beyond just them. They have to find a studio.
Yeah, I
you
know.
know. But yeah, for comparison, the entirety of The Expanse was written after what is it?
Yeah.
Dance with Dragons came out.
Yeah, I like that has not escaped me. I've said that to
And a
people
TV
like
show.
5 billion times. Yeah, it's like, I love you, George, but that's kind of absurd.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way
These
about.
guys are young. They are young. They got the fire in their bellies. They've had a taste of success. They are very prolific. They've got the energy. They're very likable. They're likable people.
9 books against 1 book.
Yeah, since the last book.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. We couldn't even get 1 book out of George
Yeah.
and all that time. And for the record, like, before people get angry at me, I'm all for letting George write at whatever pace he wants to write. But still, it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, we want it. We do want it.
Yeah.
We don't bully George about it, but we do want it. Okay, so let's do the mid-roll, okay? And for the mid-roll, I'm going to start with, like and subscribe and all that stuff. If you haven't subscribed, I would really appreciate that. Hit the thumbs up button. It just helps kind of spread the word. I'm going to make sure I get my Patreon shout-outs this week because there's a new name on the list.
What?
So, yep, our Patreon High Council consists of this dude right here, Ridiculous Ed Tollett, aka Sean, our alpha patron, leader of our Patreon crew. We love you, buddy. Drive safe. He's heading home from work right now, probably, or about to get off work, maybe. But yeah, be careful on that drive home. I heard there's some snow up your way.
Yeah, don't keep
also-
between the ditches.
Also on the High Council is Lord John Bronsteen the Wise, as well as Sixto Sounds, aka JP the Axe Grinder, who y'all met over at HereBeCon. He came by one evening and hung out, and he said he had a blast getting to know all of you. I saw him in the chat a little earlier. I'm not sure if he's still there, but yeah, had him by for a little while, and that was awesome. But
He's my new Pokey buddy.
say again?
I said we're Pokemon buddies now.
Oh, right on. And our High Council is supported by the lords and ladies of the realm, including Ryan Stavka, the Russian Quartermaster, Reflective Rambling, Arch-Maester Emma, and Kate, Mistress of the House of Books. So thank you so much, patrons. We love you guys. If you would like to become a patron, there is a link down in the description. Really, it's Kate we got a new paid Zoom account this week, and Kate was like, "Can I help pay for it?" And I'm like, "That's what the patrons are for." And then before you know it, Kate's a patron. So thank you, patrons. We love you guys. You pay for StreamYard. You pay for Zoom Link. You paid for my green screen when I got it. Love you guys. Thank you so much. You keep the quality of this show from being like D tier and keep us at like a solid C. We really appreciate you. So let's talk about what's coming up. Nessie, have you scheduled anything yet?
I think we're going to have to get together and schedule something, Stephen.
Okay, so keep your eye on this space. Very soon, Nessie and I will probably be doing D&D Dragons 2.0 over there on the Unspun Yarn.
Yep, and I think we're going to be joined by Emily of the Eerie for that one too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we'll have to get together on a, our people will have to talk.
Yeah. I'll have my people get with your people. John, I know you were talking earlier this week about maybe some changes coming. So you want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah. So everybody in Slack probably has read what I was saying already, but needless to say, I have some work opportunities coming up. Possibly from various areas. So my time that I'll be able to spend on a John Webster film will be probably erratic in the future. So basically,
Burn.
Hey, I like my background. Jeez, look, I got the bookshelf, the movie shelf, some posters. Which, by the way, that's Mad Max Fury Road and Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Okay. We interrupted your flow, John. Sorry.
I like my background. The hell with you, Dan. Anyway.
He's jealous. That's the problem. He's jealous.
Yeah. So anyway, things are probably going to get a lot more erratic in the future as far as like scheduling. And I'm probably going to have to take a good deal of time, like stepping back from doing stuff, but that is not the case for the more immediate future. I'm planning on doing some streams next month, the first of which will be on Saturday, February 5th. I will be accompanied by my wonderful friend Aaron M, as well as the awesome AK for a stream on the movie Stardust. So come join us for that.
Stardust stream when? Next weekend?
Not next weekend, on February 5th.
Okay, great. So, full disclosure, I've never seen that film. It's been on the list for a long, long time. I missed it for whatever reason.
It's great.
Movie night.
But yeah, I'm gonna. It's a good excuse for me to go ahead and watch it, so I can engage in that conversation.
And it's so great because it's got both Charlie Cox, who many people know as Daredevil, as well as a very unrecognizable Geralt of Rivia himself. Why am I blanking on his
Henry
name?
Cavill.
Henry Cavill. He is
Henry.
not. He is not. He is not the same in this movie. That's all I'll say. But yeah, no, that's great. It's one of my favorites. It's the only movie.
I know you needed to see that.
Oh, Kelly, I love you too.
That's the sweetest thing Jaded has ever said.
Oh my God. Now I've just lost track of what I was saying. It's a good movie though, so watch
I'll
it.
watch it. I'll enjoy it. Maybe we try to make a watch party out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully D&D Dragons 2.0 on Nessie's channel soon.
Yes.
You'll be back on the 5th for some Stardust. I will be there in the chat. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. And I have literally no idea what's coming up on Here Be Dragons. Literally none. Part of the problem is that I was so focused on Here Be Con that I didn't look past it, you know?
Well, I know that we have lots of Star Wars we can talk about.
We do.
We
There's
have
Book of Boba
We
Fett.
still have Book of
we-
Boba Fett.
And we still also have season 4 of Rebels that we need to get to.
Right, and then on into the Bad Batch and all that stuff. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I have
it's gonna be-
started the Bad Batch, John.
So yes, there will be some Star Wars.
I don't want to say too much because Steven hasn't gotten
Yeah,
there yet.
there will be some Star Wars content coming soon, and of course other stuff, retro reviews. I've got a couple people that I'm trying to get in for some I know that nerd stuff. So yeah, but as far as like next week, I have no clue, none. But as soon as I know, I'll tweet it.
Yeah, I think
The
we need to
tweet
do
will
one
happen.
of what we need to do one of our staff meetings because we definitely need to work out what we're doing. Like,
We were together all
gotta
last
get-
week and we didn't even think about it.
No, why would we do that?
Okay, so we are taking an extended mid-roll just because.
Oh, are there any?
guys, was it not awesome? It was
So
awesome.
there was this moment, and I believe it was either Wednesday or Thursday night. I think it was Wednesday night, where we're watching Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, and I'm sitting there, and I've got Nessie kind of like holding onto my arm here, and I got my head laid on John's shoulder, and I'm like, I could just die here. That'd be all right. I could just die right now. And that would be like, it'd feel like a lateral move going to heaven, you know?
Aw, it was a great night.
And we got to know everybody so much better, including the Jaded Redhead who's in the
Jaded.
But also like who else was there? Laura
Steve.
Petricelli was there.
Laura.
And
Which first
Blue
time,
Chris.
Lips was there.
yeah, like and as like Laura,
Jared is a person, guys.
Yes, Jared
is
is real.
person.
and like you know, if he were sitting here, like I don't think we'd be seeing his head.
Right. The man is quite
he-
tall.
He's tall. But no, it was so great. I do want to say, like, on the topic of Laura, like, I was meeting all you guys for the first time. This was also the first time in 3 years that I got to see Laura because we were hanging out for all 3 Con of Thrones.
Right. She's your
And-
Con of Thrones buddy.
Yeah, and so like the pledge that we made at the end of the week was it's not going to be another 3 years before we
Right.
see each other again, and it's not going to be. It's going to be 3 months because
Ice
it
and
looks like
Fire
she
Con,
is coming
baby.
to Ice and Fire Con. So
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm gonna be at Ice and Fire Con. Nessie is, John is. I know a whole bunch of the rest of the Here Be Dragons, like
The cupcakes are gonna be there.
right.
yeah, Kelly and Aaron are going to be there, which I'm so happy about because they couldn't make it to
Kate and Aaron.
Kate and Aaron. Yes, sorry. Wow.
John, you're doing it
I-
again.
I know I did it again. It's because I want Kelly to be there, but she's
You really
not
want
going
Kelly?
to,
to be
she's
there.
not going to be able to make it.
I'm pretty sure she booked a room today.
What?
I'm pretty sure Kelly booked a room today. Just saying, I was on our Zoom earlier, and pretty sure I heard her book a room today.
My heart just melted.
I mean, is this true? If it's true, then retroactively, what I said was okay. See, yeah, okay.
Yes.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, he
Send
made
it
Kelly.
That's what I meant.
But yeah, the cupcakes, the drunken cupcakes of Laura, Kate, and Aaron will all be there.
Oh,
Mike is going to be there. William is coming.
This just makes my heart so glad. Like basically, like the only person we're missing is my my podcast sibling, Amy, but she just can't make it because of various reasons. But like
reasons,
yeah, we're just going to get as many of our people as possible to come. I am so happy that Kelly, that you're going to be able to make it too. Yay!
Santivia, I'm just going to say it's not too late. Not too late.
But okay, so but that's coming ahead. But like here we can like there was so much fun to be had. We played D&D, which I actually had a fun time doing, and then there were snacks to be had.
Lots of snacks.
Completely normal brownies, which were quite appealing. So much so I decided to have I decided to have some on 3 separate occasions. So
they were good. The brownies were yummy.
Yes, I was
of course.
glad to be a guinea pig.
Well, of course they were, because why else would I have eaten them except for
I got to have them,
except for the taste of chocolate. Clearly, that's the only reason. But they were very enjoyable.
I got to have mine fresh out of the oven. It was delicious.
Yeah, Nessie ate the first one, and then I ate the second one. And then a couple hours later, we went back and cut them all in half.
Brownies in half.
Because they were
very rich.
Well, there's only so much chocolate.
So sweet.
There's only so much chocolate. That's
sugar in one. We also had. You mentioned D&D. We also had this.
Oh, yes.
I'm not sure how much you can read, but in the middle is the big machine. You've got the present storage area there on the left. To the left of that, you have Santa's sleigh launch ramp. This was Santa's workshop. This the frost trolls and the ice goblins had taken over for a little bit, and 8 people of the Elite Liberation Force. 8 elves of the Elite Liberation Force went in to save Santa, and it was a blast.
Can I just say, like, having that visual representation of like what we were doing right in front of me with like pieces and stuff, that really helped me with the experience this time, because I'm going to be honest, like a lot of the times when we were like doing like actual action stuff in our online games, I often found it hard to understand exactly what was going on.
Right. It can be a challenge.
Yeah.
But that's why I made the map, just so I didn't have to re-explain. I had the big grid paper available, so yeah, it was perfect. It was awesome.
John, I think you were a jolly elf, weren't you? I was a holly elf. John was a jolly elf.
I really brought the imagination. I was still my same Keira Knightley inspired character.
You really were.
I mean, yes, of course you were.
But yeah. Santivia, the dates are, what is it, the 20th through the 24th? 21st through the 24th of April? It is the last full weekend of April.
Okay, 21st through the 24th. Thursday the 21st through Sunday the 24th.
There you go. Yeah, and a whole bunch of us will be there. And Santivia, I hope you get to make it. It would be so awesome to meet you in person.
Deer Creek Park Lodge in Sterling, Ohio.
But yeah, anything else you guys want to say about HereBeCon?
Just I said this a million times already, and yes, I know you were being selfish, Stephen, but like, thank you for organizing all this. It was such an amazingly wonderful time, and I'm so happy that I got to spend time with all of you, and looking forward to doing it again.
Yeah, and we definitely need to take a few minutes and give like the biggest hug shout out to the MVP of the whole event.
There's only
Now
one
be
person we can be talking about.
Sainthood has achieved whole new levels with her. She's the
Are you
best.
talking about Saint Elizabeth?
Yes.
Like, and I want to go and tell this
Betsy,
story.
the always there.
I want to tell this story right here because I told you guys, like, I had been so wound up about like Omicron and all that stuff leading up to this trip. And then, I spent the whole day, in airports, on a plane, like just trying to stay away from as many people as possible. I was like not prepared for just letting all of that go once I got to all you guys. But when Betsy picked me up at the airport, just out of sheer habit, like I was putting my suitcase in the trunk, and then I just went to go get in the car, and she was like, whoa, wait a second. Come on, come here and give me a hug. And so she was the first person where all of those boundaries sort of got broken down, and it was just like, it was so wonderful, and I was so grateful for her to picking us all up and to helping us all out throughout the week, and also helping to planning everything. And it just Betsy, you're a saint, and thank you for everything that you did.
Yeah, she's not in the chat tonight. She's hanging out with Jolie, actually. But
as you do.
Yeah, as one does.
As one does.
But yeah, Mom really was a rock star this week. We love you, Mom. I mean, I love you because you're my mom. But like, we
love you.
Yeah, but everybody loves you. And this week, y'all all got to see why I'm like, nah, Mom's cool. Like, how many 47-year-old men are like, no, I actively want my mom to hang out with me? Not many get to be that lucky.
Yeah. I hope I'm that mom.
Well, I need to run and grab a drink. Y'all, so I'll be back in just a couple of minutes, but I'm sweating it here and I need something. I need a cold drink. So I'll be back in just a minute. Just keep the party going. 2 minutes, I'll be back.
Oh, geez, he threw you the keys, John.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm on the bottom. You're the co-pilot.
Oh, damn it. I've never flown this thing before. So, that was another thing that was like the big thing hanging in the air this season too, was the captain's chair of the Rossi.
Yeah, I was very pleased with the amount of mentions and conversations about Alex throughout the season, because there's no escaping sort of the suddenness of the character's departure last season, just because of various real world considerations. We don't need to talk about it again, but it was what it was, and they tried to make the best out of it that they could at the time. But it was really helped for me by feeling his presence this season.
Yeah, his character's presence was felt throughout the season, the entire season.
Are we back to the Expanse?
Yeah, we actually started talking about that. Yeah, and how you left the captain's the pilot seat open, so we were like, that's been a thing this whole season, is the weight and the emptiness of that particular chair, and it's been
oh my God,
every one of the characters,
Amos and Bobby and the country music.
Oh my God.
It was so great.
I'm really glad they did not try to force a romantic storyline between them.
Yeah.
I mean, there was maybe some romantic tension there.
Well, maybe not.
Or
maybe not romance, but something
like bromance. Can we have some bromance between these two? Which is perfectly fine.
Well, there
You
was
know,
some sexual tension
but
too.
And like something may have happened, you know.
well, I
But
mean, he did invite her on his shore leave party. You
Right?
know, he's like, "Are you?" She's like, "Are you just going to stay drunk and this entire time?" He's like, "Yep, that's the plan. You want to go?"
I'm going back to the brothel. You want to come with? And she's like, with you or with you? And he's like,
With you.
which, like, you know, makes sense. He's not dead.
right. I
But
mean,
that's
he's
just
not dead or blind or gay, so he's got some interest there.
that's
Yeah.
just Alex. That's just Alex. It's just another thing for him. You're like, okay, that's
Amos.
cool.
Amos.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. Jeez, that was bad. That was a bad flip. But yeah, Amos, that's just his vibe, you know. He's like, it's fine either way, you know.
Yeah, but I like that it was left up in the air. But she didn't look completely opposed to it. So
You know, she's just kind of got that vibe herself, you know. She's never really been that close to anyone, you know. It's just she's more closer. She's closer with the people that she's was in combat with or that she's in particular situations with than she is in any type of a, you know, romantic inclination. She's just more of a
by the way, I would like to thank whoever is responsible for the amount of times we got Bobby in the tank top, you know.
Thank you, Bobby.
Arms, holy cow.
His arms, yeah. Like
Yeah.
very very sorry, all due respect to Frankie Adams' performance and all that stuff, but
She's incredibly dedicated to her craft.
you got it going on. So I'm just saying I'm appreciative of that.
And my girl has been working out.
Yeah.
Wasn't she like Miss New Zealand at one point?
I'm not sure, but like that would not shock.
Wouldn't shock me in the least.
Isn't an Expanse stream if it doesn't, you know, turn
If we
into
don't
a Bobby thirst.
We have a little bit of thirst. There's a lot to thirst over. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of being thirsty, you know, we haven't talked about Drummer and her arc this season, these last few episodes.
This is
at all.
Kamina Drummer, and this is to the traitor, Marco Inaros. Oh my God. I live for her speeches.
Yeah, I mean, she just threw it right out there. She's like, come for me, big boy.
Which, by the way, I
got
want to make
something for you.
I want to make a point to draw a contrast between Drummer's big, you know, Belter speeches, both like this one, but also recall back to season 3.
You can't forget that one, the Belter speech.
And then you look at Marco's weak ass speech and his Belter Lauda, and it's like, oh, shut the hell up. And like, it does not elicit the, you know, the feelings that when Drummer gives that kind of a speech. And I loved that contrast. Because we never forget that. Like I did, you know, a whole intro to one of these streams with Drummer's speech and doing the chant of Belta Lauda. And it's, you know, when someone like that delivers that kind of a powerful speech versus the emptiness of someone who's just all about themselves and selfish and
narcissistic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
UK gets it. She's basically she's Dornish.
She did it.
Yeah, like, and this is worth so much more because you guys know that I'm usually, you know, going to hell and back to defend, you know, Game of Thrones stuff, but like, she is the Dorne we deserved.
Right.
You're not wrong.
Like,
yeah,
there was this
are
moment.
The Dorne we deserved.
There's this moment at the end of episode 5 where Avasarala is having a face-to-face with Drummer, and you know, and Drummer is like if any of us met Christian Avasarala, we'd be like, yes, ma'am. Oh, you got it, whatever you want. But Drummer's like, hell no, I'm going to tell you what's up. And
Fancy
I'm not
space
taking
lady.
your BS responses, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I think. And it was so good. It was so good.
It's not the same scene, but earlier, you know, a Marco was inevitable. You know, when she delivers that, it's like, yeah, she stands her ground, you know, against Avasarala, and that moment is so great. And by the way, like, I also want to talk about Avasarala, which is the fact that.
Okay, but
like,
before you do that, I'm going to finish my other thought.
Well, no, it's connected, and then I'll drop it, and then it, like, just because that scene is about like her growth as well, and like right before that, she talks about what we saw in the first episode of the series with her torturing the Belter, and says, you know, the people of the Belt see me as that person because that's who I was. It is not who I am now, and so like all that builds towards this moment, this meeting of the two minds, and it feels so momentous and powerful.
Yeah, Potter says Drummer's best moment in the season is where she gives Chrissy and the Martians her word that the Bettlers would behave. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, she kind of uses Christian's own words back at her. How can we trust you? Yeah, you say the same thing all the time. Why should we trust you? But I didn't realize until that moment, these two people have never met face to face.
They have been on a collision course since the beginning of this series.
Yeah.
And this moment was what this entire series, these two women interacting in that moment, that's what the entire series has been about. It's come to a head right there. You know, Drummer is not Marco in any way, shape. She is the Belt. She is the people of the Belt. She's worked with some of the best people in the Belt. She's worked with some of the worst people in the Belt. But she has got the heart and the soul and the blood and the bone of the Belter in her. What she says,
she is the Belter, the Uber Belter, the stereotypical, the platonic ideal Belter, which is why it's so great to see her in charge of the transport union at the end. She's basically, okay, Christian, you're in charge of Earth.
She's worked with Dawes. She's worked with Dawes. She's worked with Fred Johnson. She's worked with these people, you know, that have been dealing with Avasarala for all these years. You know, she's worked under them for so long, and she has argued with them every time that they have bent in any way, you know. So, yeah, this has just been inevitable.
I mean, Dan, I'm not sure what you're. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm just going to pronounce it Bettlers from now on.
Betlalota.
Miss Flelling.
But no, it's.
Oh yeah. Are you deliberately misspelling comments now?
I do want to, like, once again say, just, you know, her performance, just that scene between her and Naomi, you know, again, I talked about it earlier, but like it had me in tears, and especially since like it's easy to forget that I guess they haven't like physically had a scene together since season 3, right?
Four at the beginning of 4. Oh no, not physically together. They talked, but you're right, not physically together.
Yeah.
That was the last time they talked.
Yeah, and it's so easy to forget that, kind of because, like, you know, because they're linked, you know, and so it feels like, you know, they're together even when they're not, because like, you know, these characters, and not just them, like many of the characters, you know, when they're thinking or talking about these people, it sometimes feels like they're more connected than they they're emotionally connected and connected, by friendship and love and all that stuff. But it's kind of surprising, like the whole thing where what we were just saying, that her and Avasarala haven't actually shared a scene together. And it's like, wow, really? It's kind of surprising.
Like, I feel like they've been in each other's gravity for a long time, and they've been circling. And obviously, at the end is the time to have them come crashing together. But I just really appreciated that scene where you have two women, neither of whom are white, representing two of the most powerful factions. And like, again, the way this show did its diversity, I'm just so happy with. I'm so happy to see a future where we still got problems, but like gender issues and race issues are things of the past.
Which, and given that, like, we should have realized that the second it seems like Holden is going to be the one to be given the keys at the end, like, we should know instantly, like, no, that's not going to happen, because the show has made it a point to say that it's not doing that, and so it's so perfect when he steps down and it's Drummer, because of course it is, as it should be.
Yeah, I can't remember who said it earlier. It might have been Dan. We're talking about you can do the white guy, the privileged white guy as an ally, but it's really easy to go over a line and into the white savior trope. And I really don't feel like they did that with Holden. Because I mean, he was there and he did the thing he did, and his morality led him to be in the place he needed to be, and people followed him because of that. But he didn't save the universe.
No, and even when early on in the show, like the whole remember the can't thing, like, he's put up as this sort of like, oh, this is a good Earther, and and we kind of like him, but he didn't, like, none of that stuff was part of any plan on his part. It's just kind of like, what do I need to do to get me and my friends out of the situation we're in right now? So it was all sort of incidental. And so and despite the fact that he's stubborn in wanting to do the right thing, he's never wanted to be in that position of being a savior. So and that's what's so awesome, is that even at the end, he doesn't allow himself to sort of be put in that situation. He takes the mature route and does what he knows is the right thing, and steps aside and is like, no, this, like, it's never going to work. This, it can't be me. It's got to be Drummer. And it's just, God, it's such a great moment. I just love that moment, just because, and it's partly because of Avasarala's reaction in the moment.
I like Joe S's observation here, is that the Belters are in many ways analogous to a new race in the future, ethnicity, however you want to put it, as are the Martians, as well as the equivalent to a colonized Monotri. Monotri, yes.
Minority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I warned everybody early on, man. If you misspell and I put it up and I read it, I'm going to read it wrong. We did get this, but yes. The sort of parallel between the Belters and colonial and peoples of colonized nations has been a long-standing theme that we've talked about really since
the first episode. Yeah.
So guys, we got about 20 minutes left. Make sure if there's anything from these last few episodes that you want to talk, we get it now.
Yeah.
Patty, what are you doing? I will say hi. Pleasure to see you as always. But go get on this show, man.
Like, we haven't talked at all about Clarissa.
Okay.
And this again, I'm going to harp on the X-ray scene.
And very little about Amos too, by the way.
Yeah. Who cares about that guy? I know. But this is why, like, the X-ray scenes are very important. I love that scene where she hears about her father, dying in prison, and records that message, just to, sort of just putting that out there of I wish I didn't love you, and
I wish you
it's,
loved me. I wish I didn't love you.
yeah,
What a heartbreaking scene.
yeah. And just the fact of knowing what her, in the later scene and in the finale of learning what her fate probably is going to be, it's just, but she knows she's in the right place now. And so I think for her, it's like, that doesn't change what she's going to do in the immediate future. It's, she's where she feels she belongs, where she does belong. And if that's only for a short amount of time, then so be it, that's the thing. Like, if the story does pick up and years have passed, the one thing I'm super curious about is, what happens to her? Will she just have passed away? Which, if we're going for,
she's one that I really don't think will make it.
Yeah.
Like,
no, she's got a short time.
her life expectancy is 5 years.
Yeah.
So
there's that 5-year gap, y'all.
And then the dinner scene where she, we get, where she tortures everybody, and we have that, moment where they're all sitting around the table. And especially on the second viewing, I felt Alex's presence there, even though he wasn't, there. And
the Mariner Valley lasagna.
Yeah, that was so beautiful. And again, since, like I was talking about before, with a great deal of like the finale being like, like an action climax. What's good is that these episodes really take the time to give us these wonderful character moments leading up to that. And so just seeing them all, gathered together at the table, and you're just watching, it's like, this is our family that we've watched on the show for years. And it's just so beautifully done. And yeah.
And look how far they've all come, how much they've all grown and changed.
And Amos is boss now.
Amos is boss now.
He's
and
boss.
The thing is, he's in a place where he can be that for someone, which who would have thought?
Yeah.
Right?
Just y'all all know Amos is my favorite character. I will say he did not have as much to do from a sort of character-driven standpoint these last few episodes. Although even the stuff he did get, like that interaction with, if we're not killing Marco, I don't know what I'm doing here.
But I think that's like what his character arc is for this season, of like, this is the guy who didn't know what the right thing was, but he put himself into situations following people who he believed did know what the right thing was. But I think he's a more complete person now, and he knows what he should do. And it's what Bobby says to him. You need to it matters, how you are to those next to you, and sticking by them and having their back. And he's like, that's right. He knows that deep down. And so that growth that we've seen out of him, since the beginning, where he was just following Naomi, and then he was following Holden, but now
he's mentoring his own sociopath. He's got his own little sociopath that he's mentoring and shepherding along the way. It's
like, you guys remember, I was not an Amos fan at the beginning, like that first season, and like, to see not just how far his character has gone, but how I feel about him as a character. I care so much about that, as you said, see our lovable psychopath.
Our beautiful sociopath, yes.
Here's the thing, though. he's not a psychopath.
He's not.
No.
We're
But, like,
using that
it's easy
affectionately.
it is very easy to misidentify him as such early on, which is what I think the mistake we all make. Not mistake. I think they want us to
Yeah.
misidentify him
Mhm.
as a psychopath or a sociopath, and then they slowly peel back the layers on his backstory,
Yeah.
and you come to realize, no, this is a person who has severe PTSD and
Yes.
but has a very strong will to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a
Yeah.
moral code that he lives by. You
Yeah.
know, he's developed
Like,
his own moral
Amos has
code.
never threatened anyone. Like, I think back to season 3 when he figures out that the blind cameraman is the one that messed with the Rossi, and he's
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna, and he takes him and Monica down to the airlock, and he's like, I'm gonna ask you this one time, and I'm gonna kill her. What did you do? And I'm just like, by that point, we know Amos, and we know that is not a threat. He's not like using it to coerce. He's like, you can choose not to tell me. This woman will die immediately afterwards if you don't. And again, that's not a threat. That's just a statement of fact for him. And I love that character so much. I love him. I love him.
He has a way. Well, I mean, it's like I would put that in the threat category, but it's the way that he goes about it. But like he has this way of threatening without actually like it being a threat in the traditional sense. Like the whole thing with him in season 4, like you know, he lets others kind of create that situation. Like the whole, I think one day you and I are gonna, be bloodied, and he
How
says,
about now?
I'm free right now. But yeah, I love him, and that's quite a journey I've gone on with this character, and with all of them, to be honest. And I know, like, I do want to say this, given that this is our, like, it may not be our last stream about the Expanse,
I doubt it.
but it is the end of the show. Like, I know Holden gets a lot of flack for being space, Jon Snow, all that stuff, but
Oh my God! And he's living up to it.
yeah, he is. But like,
But don't want
but
it.
it's
I
still
don't want it.
but he's still really amazingly well character, and Stephen Strait acts the hell out
Yeah.
of that character.
Look, no shade for Stephen Strait.
None.
And the thing is, like, I make fun of Holden, and he's not my favorite character, but like there is so much to admire in that character. He has a strong moral center. He acts on it. He is
Yeah.
not afraid to be out there doing when he thinks that doing is the right thing. A lot of us will be like, "Oh man, that's terrible. Hopefully somebody does something about that." Holden is like,
Oh,
I'm
gas
going to
up.
do something
Let's
about
go.
that. And that is
Yeah.
very admirable.
It's like,
Yeah. And yeah, I'm trying desperately to like cover ground that I'm worried that we didn't cover, like just like, and Naomi was just utterly and amazing. We talked about the scene with her and Holden where she talks about don't you're putting this on me and stuff, but it's just she's arrived at this place where she's made the decision. Or at least she, it's one thing to say it, but it may be another thing to do, which is why that final moment with her is so powerful. But to actually, for her to say, I tried to save Philip, but I've made peace with the fact that I couldn't do it. And
she has already mourned his loss.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
And which just makes it all the more like sort of bittersweet, that like we see that he is saved, at the end of the story. But at least as far as we know at this point in the story, I don't know what comes later on. Maybe nothing does. But like, if we take what we're given here, she may never know and based on her speech, like I think
You
that's
may
what
never know.
it's all about. Like, and it's not about whether you have the satisfaction of that or not. It's just about doing what you can to, for people, and hoping that maybe takes root in some form, and it does for Philip. And I just love that she gets that powerful speech to close out, the series, and it's just, it's so damn good.
So the one thing I want to mention before we get to the end is Keon Anderson as Marco Inaros.
Do we have to?
You can roll your eyes at the character, but what a performance, man. Like, if you hate Marco, it's because Keon Anderson is fantastic.
Because he's doing the job right.
Yeah.
He's done a remarkable job with the character, but there's also something about this, the final episode in particular, and I think it's what they've done with, his performance has been phenomenal, but it's also what they've done with the writing, is that as much as I've despised him, like, there's a reason for that, because they've written a character and he's acted a character that gets under your skin, and it's just like, whether you enjoy that or you hate it, like I have. But what happens in this final episode with him is that, like, everything gets stripped away from him. Philip is, is lost to him once and for all, and I think he even he perceives that. And his one other ally on the ship has died, and he doesn't even care that much. He's like, whatever. It's all for the glory of Marco. And so by the time he's giving that speech to, like, we don't know these Belters as audience members, and he has nothing else left. There's nothing really awaiting him on the other side of the ring. If anything, he's trapped in a situation where, he's not welcome over there. So he might as well, the death maybe even comes as a release, at this point, because he's trapped either way. And so I feel like there's an emptiness to all his, sort of speechifying and bluster in this final episode, to the point where it's like, you just feel like this is a guy who there's nothing there by this point. Everything's lost to him. And there's something brilliant about that, the way that all comes together. And there's so much satisfaction for me when, that final moment. I mean, you guys were sitting there next to me. I was like, I was doing this, like,
that was a fist pumping moment. Like, when Marco gets disassembled by the gate entity.
By the ring?
Oh my God.
I think of that gif of the guy, like, eating the cupcake or whatever. Yeah. They're really, yeah.
But I found, like, just the emptiness surrounding Marco so brilliant in this final episode.
Yeah, he was alone.
Yeah.
And he did it himself. The only when I don't know the character's name off the top of my head, but when his second in command dies, he really is, from that point on, completely alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of that character's name. Excuse me. But he really is completely alone. Y'all, anything else we should touch on before we start moving towards the end?
I'm just trying to make sure we didn't, like, skip over something.
we skipped over a lot.
Yeah, because to be honest, we were so, inevitably we were so focused on the finale. I think we touched on a couple things from earlier episodes, but there was a lot more to discuss.
Thank you, Joe Rosenberg, with her name.
So So apologies for anybody who came to this looking for something more in depth on episodes 4 and 5, because I feel
look.
Yeah.
If you're new here, maybe you don't know, but for those of you that have been here for a while, you don't come here for in-depth analysis. You come here to watch nerds geek out about stuff they love.
Well,
Yeah.
it was nice to see Drummer's rise.
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 episodes were really about Drummer's rise with credibility with the belt, because she orchestrated the relief. I mean, she brought relief to Ceres. I mean, when you start seeing those ships coming in with all those containers behind them, and the sacrifice that she went to get those supplies and bring them in, that just is elevating her status among the belters. Like, Marcos will let you starve. I am feeding you. We are bringing this to you. Not the inners. We are.
Right. Not the Free Navy.
Not the Free Navy. Right.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I was a little blindsided by that. Like, I did not see that rise in Drummer's power coming. I kept saying things being stripped away from her over last season and this season,
Yeah, like when she lost the last 2 members of her family.
When was it Joseph and Michio both left?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was Rosenfeld.
But I like to think
not Rosenberg.
They're I like to think that that's kind of repaired in time to come, now that the war is over.
Yeah.
And we don't see that explicitly, but they're there at like the ceremony. So.
And it was really important that the Belters have a stake in the future of humanity, because as we've seen, not all Belters can adapt to life outside of space. They are almost like an evolutionary step beyond, the standard human, and for them to have their home is now space, and the transport system controlled by them, and having that much of a stake in the future, that it was really good to see that they would have a future, because they were looking at being obsolete once all these planets are colonized.
Y'all, I just so Dan said he Googled, it's Rosenfeld. It is Rosenfeld. That actress is 48 years old.
See, they got good skincare in space. I've been telling you this.
I guess so. I'm just like, man, I hope I look that good when I'm 48.
I mean, it's a good thing none of them was on a desert planet.
Right. Right, because we saw what happened to Obi-Wan.
Yeah. But no, it hurt. Like, she was very interesting because she was clearly very ambitious, as we saw. Because she said, you want to repay me, give me, control of Medina's station, the governorship, but also like, she clearly showed, care for Philip and trying to help that. I mean, that wasn't completely unselfish, because that helps with the whole hierarchy of command and the happy, getting Philip and Marco to work together meant she would in turn be more successful. But I really liked the relationship that was formed there, and the effect that her death then had on Philip, and which leads to just another stake in the in the relationship that he has with his father, when he doesn't care about anybody but himself. It's all about him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Claire from 90210 became second in command of a terrorist organization. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, y'all. I'm reaching the end of my thread here. So I think it's about time to put this one to bed.
I'm sad.
Today, I know you're never going to watch this, but Daniel Abraham, Ty Frank, thank you so much for this story. Sincerely, like, as a lifelong lover of science fiction, you really have raised the bar for me in a way I didn't think could be done. So thank you so much. Naren Shankar, thank you so much for making this TV show happen the way it did. And then I'm going to shout out like our Rossi crew, Stephen Strait, Dominic Tipper, Wes Chatham. I'm going to throw in some Frankie Adams, some Shreya Agdashlu, Ugdashlu. I learned how to say her name recently.
Yay!
Just thank you for the story. It really has become my favorite science fiction. I know, John, it's maybe like right here, just below
it's
number one, but sincerely, on the off chance that any of you ever see this, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And we will be back to talk Expanse again at some point in the future. John,
season 7, baby.
Yeah, John, Nessie, final thoughts.
I'm sad to see it go, and I'm hopeful to see it again.
Yeah, I will say, like, this is up next. I'm gonna be diving into this. But I do want to say, Stephen, you've gone ahead and extended thanks to the cast and crew. I echo that. If they ever see this for some reason, you guys have done such an amazingly remarkable job. I'm trying to think, like, could I have imagined a science fiction show like this when I was younger, and with not just like the scale of it, what they managed to do, but the amazing storytelling and the fantastically written characters. But the most important thing that I want to leave with is that if it wasn't for, okay, we would have found something else to talk about. But like, this was the thing that Stephen, that you used to bring me as a guest onto this channel. You said you said something to the effect of, I want to have you as a guest on the channel. Can you watch season 1 of The Expanse?
Right.
And we'll talk about that. So that is what started everything off for us. And it was the 3 of us on that first stream together. So, so just thank you to this show and to everybody involved in the show, and to you, Stephen, for bringing me, onto this mad ride, and for Nessie. I'm very grateful that first time it was the 3 dragons, and that we got to start this journey. And it's only now hitting me that even though I hope this isn't the end of the show, for now it is, and to imagine that the scope of the journey that we've gone on together, it's pretty incredible.
John, what you don't realize is that I brought you in with The Expanse, and now that we're done with it, you're out.
Oh shit!
You're fine.
Contract is up, my friend.
At the end of this stream, you're totally fine. Nessie, any final thoughts?
No, I'm just echoing John's thoughts. I was thinking much the same thing. Thinking back to our inaugural episode of the 3 of us together. It was The Expanse that brought us together, but that's not going to be what keeps us together, because we've got finally, yes.
All my fears are coming to pass. You guys have just been waiting for The Expanse to be
just
over,
waiting.
so that
just waiting for it to be over.
That John character.
But
we were playing the long con.
If you win your bet, you'll be back in less than 5 years.
Okay. All right.
That's true. And I'll come wash dishes at your house.
I want to say I remember because that first stream that we all did together was the very first John troll that I ever threw out there, because that was, we'd been talking about the Dark Crystal, I guess, even that early on, and you said that you had tried to watch about 15 minutes of it and it wasn't for you. And so I started off like being completely uncomfortable because it was my first time doing any kind of stream. And I decided to throw a joke out there where I was like, I gave about 10 minutes of this show a chance, but then I decided I just didn't really like it. And and your reaction was gold, because you're like, don't do that. And and it was so much fun. So that kind of broke the ice on that first stream. And it's been a ride, guys, and I've enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah, it's been a good time. Been a real good time. Well, I guess that's it then. So once again, to everyone in the chat, thanks for coming. The Expanse has done this channel a lot of good. Like, it's been one of our most talked about topics. And I imagine we'll find something to talk about Expanse related in the future. But until then, I have been Stephen, your host. For my co-hosts, Nessie and John, thank you for joining us this evening to talk about the show that we all love. Come back next week when we have no clue what we're doing, but like I say, I'll post when I figure that out. But until then, you know what it is. Peace, and be excellent to each other.